part 2 of the symptoms of veganism that you may want to look out for if you are vegan. And once again, this video is not saying that this is what every single vegan is going to experience. It's just something to look out for and make sure that you're good. So the next thing, I know that it's probably hard to believe that there's even more symptoms, but there's a lot more. So the next one is feeling cold. Are you literally always cold? And this happened to me as a vegan, like almost all these symptoms happened to me, but your fingers and your toes especially feel like ice cubes. They feel like popsicles. It feels like you barely make any type of body heat. And if you do make body heat, it's just barely enough body heat to keep your organs from hypothermia, and that's basically it. And you don't produce any warmth. Some people may stop sweating altogether, even if they exercise. Just feeling cold. And I'm gonna play a short clip here of Tanny Raw because she actually was traveling somewhere tropical and warm, and at one point in one of her videos she said something about herself being cold, and maybe this is just me looking too much into it, maybe I'm completely wrong, but the way that she says that she's cold, it doesn't sound like she's saying she's cold in this moment, because first of all, she's somewhere tropical, and also the tone of her voice, it doesn't sound like she's saying I'm cold right now or in this moment. It sounds like she's saying I'm cold in general, overall. I'm just a cold being.
And we went snorkeling. I had to have a wetsuit because I'm very cold, and the water here is, you think it's warm, but it's not.
And of course, I could be wrong. I could be looking into it the wrong way, but just the way she says, I needed to have a wetsuit because I'm very cold. The way that she says I'm very cold, it just sounds like she's saying that her body in general is just very cold. Her body, it doesn't really produce any body heat. That's why she's saying, I need this wetsuit because I'm very cold. So, yes, you may just be accepting that you're cold as a vegan and just taking on this idea that you're just very cold. You're just a cold bodied person when before you probably were warm. Next thing, weight loss without trying, or with trying. You might be losing too much weight and people around you may be noticing it, and maybe they said something to you about it. Maybe you made excuses for it and think like a lot of vegans think, oh, they're just not used to seeing a healthy person. They think I'm underweight because, the average American person is overweight and obese, so they don't know what they're talking about. Losing too much weight is not a good thing. You should have some type of body fat, especially if you are a woman. Next thing, did your body composition change? And I feel like for many vegans, this becomes like a skinny fat look where it's hard to build any type of muscle. Your body becomes more squishier and softer. You could be losing your glutes, you could be losing your thighs, because maybe before they were mostly made up of muscle, and now everything is just squishy and soft. And your shoulders might be becoming more smaller and more of like a sharp angle in your shoulders as they waste away. And some people actually gain weight while they're vegan. They become puffy and bloated and just slightly overweight. Another thing about that body composition, you might find it hard to build any type of muscle. For some people that exercise, they probably would notice this more than others. You go to the gym or whatever you do, you exercise and you build a little bit of muscle as a vegan, but literally within 24 hours or a day, those muscles turn back to the squishy, skinny fat. Your body eats up that muscle really quickly. You cannot build any muscle unless you literally, maybe twice a day even, are pumping your muscles. And I never really exercise, but I do like to dance and things like that. And another thing people say is they kind of lose the coordination of their muscles. Like their muscles don't respond as easily. And then when they go back to eating animal foods, the muscle just immediately responds. And for me, I noticed this with dancing. Like, you can start out as a pretty good dancer on rhythm and on beat, but after a while as a vegan, you start becoming more of an awkward dancer. Your body is just not on, the coordination is not as good. You are kind of off beat, or you can't move your muscles as quickly as you used to. And basically just losing your rhythm. The next thing would be rapid aging, and for this, many vegans are in denial. They will come up with every excuse in the book as to why they are rapidly aging. They will attribute it to stress, to aging, normal aging, and having kids and things like this, please be honest with yourself. Look at your family members, look at your friends, look at the people that graduated high school at the same time as you, even if you got to go to that class reunion as a socially awkward, antisocial vegan. Just pop in and see how everyone is looking, compare it to yourself. Do you look like you're around the same age as them, or do you look like, they can't recognize who you are? They think you were probably one of the teachers that they forgot about that decided to show up in the reunion to see how everyone was doing. Look at yourself. Make sure your skin is not getting thin. Sometimes this can start out with being able to see the veins in your skin. This could be your hands, your legs, your feet, your eyelids, especially in the eyelid. Deep dark lines in the forehead, crow's feet, nasal labial folds is a big one. Those lines on the sides of your nose, almost like smile lines, but those become, in many vegans, they start advancing very rapidly. Even like small vegan children get them very deeply. Deep nasal labial folds. For women, loss of menstrual cycle, irregular menstrual cycle, a very spaced out menstrual cycle, like 3-4 months apart. Any of these things are not good. You could be having weird menstrual cycles where it's very painful, super heavy bleeding, debilitating pain, or some having extremely light period with only like 1 or 2 drops of blood, and sometimes they will tell you that this is a good thing. I don't think that this is a good thing. If you ask your doctor, they probably will tell you that this is not normal and not a good thing. Loss of libido. Now, this can happen to many vegans. It's not happened to me, but I've heard from many vegans they lost their libido, and the thing about it is when vegans sometimes lose their libido, they also do not care about that. Like, you might think, oh, I don't have any libido. Not really, but it doesn't really matter, and you don't see the importance or the value or the health signaling of you actually having a libido. You forgot what it's like to have libido. Another thing, bedwetting and incontinence. Someone wrote that this was something that happened to them as a vegan. Probably also due to that loss of muscle control in the body. Eyebrow and or eyelashes falling out or being lost. This usually happens, from what I can tell, on the outer half of the eyebrow. Those hairs will just disappear, become very sparse, and in many cases the actual shape of the eyebrow will change. The outer like half or third of the eyebrow kind of slopes downwards and gives the eyes a sad type of appearance. And for me, my eyebrows were coming out, but not super heavily. It's just like whenever I touched my eyebrows, I would have 2-3 strands of hair stuck to my finger. Like anytime I touched my eyebrows, it was like it didn't take much for those eyebrows to come out. If I wiped my eyebrows with a washcloth while I was washing my face, 6-7 pieces of eyebrow hair is coming out. Okay, I had super thin eyelashes. This can happen as well. My eyelashes were so sparse to the point that I could not even wear mascara because it would look ridiculous. I feel like you need at least 10 eyelashes to wear mascara. If you only have like 3 or 4 lashes, it looks very weird, like you just have one spider on your eyelid. So eyelashes being lost, looking more gapped open and spaced apart because they're all falling out. Muscle twitching. This happens, and it's not like normal muscle twitching. Muscle twitching is quite normal, especially if you exercise a lot. But as a vegan, I noticed that I had extreme muscle twitching. Like, I thought I was developing ALS at one point, because normal muscle twitching, it seems like it happens for a couple minutes, an hour, maybe even a whole day or a couple days. But as a vegan, I would get muscle twitching for weeks and weeks, literally over a month, almost 2 months of the same muscle twitching all day, every day. You just look at for me, it was in the arch of my foot, and whenever I would look at it, it was just all this rippling and waving. The foot muscle would not stop twitching for over almost 2 months. Constant twitching. I thought it was ALS. And I started taking like a bunch of magnesium, and that didn't help at all. I took so much magnesium that it gave me loose stools. So much magnesium, and not just one type of magnesium. I bought like every single type of magnesium they had. Magnesium bisglycinate, magnesium oxide, all different types of magnesium pills and liquid magnesium. And that foot still was twitching. It stopped. I don't know what caused it to stop. Maybe the muscle just wore out from twitching for so long. And it was making it hard for me to fall asleep because it felt like my foot was it just wouldn't stop twitching, and it was kind of tickling all the time. I had to start taking melatonin just to fall asleep because that twitching would not stop. Next thing, memory loss. Short-term memory loss. This also kind of ties into the brain fog. As as a vegan, try to remember everything you ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner today and yesterday. For me, this started in after 5, 6 years of being a vegan, so it took a long time for this to happen, but could not remember short-term things like what had I done during that week. I kept forgetting what day of the week it was. All types of stuff. I could remember things from my childhood and long-term memories, but that short-term memory was shot. I could not remember what I ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I started doing mental exercises with myself, trying to remember everything I did that day and the previous day, and sometimes I literally could not remember. Okay, so next is the fingernails. Make sure that you look at your fingernails. Make sure you're not getting ridges, lines, thin fingernails, white spots all over the fingernails that bend easily and are all soft and not any type of strength to them. Peeling fingertips, peeling all around the cuticles of every single finger. I had that going on. Peeling skin all around the tips of the fingers and around the fingernail. Next is pain, any type of pain in your body for no reason. Joint pain, back pain. You might feel like you have organs that hurt. Could be your gallbladder, could be your gut, could be your lungs, could be anything hurting. Your joints could be painful and swollen and cracking all the time. Every time you sit or move, you hear cracks. And for me, my neck hurt a lot. Whenever I would bend forward, it felt like my head and my skull was too heavy for my neck to support, so it would hurt right where the skull and the neck met. Next thing, nerve pain. I had sharp pains all over my body sometimes, and it wasn't bad or all the time, but I would just feel like a needle type pain in my arm, and then a needle type pain in my toe, and then needle type pain in my shoulder, and needle type pain in the eyebrow area. It would just be all over, and it was really weird and random. Someone told me that can come from oxalates, and I definitely had some oxalate issues, which I'll get to. Next thing, bad skin. It could be acne, pimples, eczema, severe rashes that have no known cause, developing random allergies that could show up in your skin, that can show up in any type of way. You could become allergic to bananas when you were never allergic to bananas before. Kidney stones, that's where the oxalates come in. Or kidney issues, kidney pain, bladder issues, urinary tract infections all the time. So I don't know, maybe the kidneys and the bladder are not at the top priority when it comes to the vegan diet, and your body trying to salvage and trying to distribute those minimal nourishment, that minimal nutrition that you got, and maybe the kidneys and the bladder are the last ones to get it. But kidney stones and urinary tract infections and just a general weaker immune system overall. And you might be watching vegans on YouTube that say, I never get sick. I've been vegan for 5 years and I haven't been sick one time. Meanwhile, you're vegan, you're sick all the time. Your nose is always running. You're always congested. You're always stuffed up. You always can't breathe. You're always having sinus pressure. You're always having pressure in your ears. You're always carrying a packet of tissues with you everywhere you go. You're always expelling mucus, and meanwhile watching YouTubers say they never get sick. The next thing was extreme thirst. I didn't have this, but when I asked my viewers about this, I think I did see a couple of people saying they had extreme thirst, and I think this could be due to a number of things. I'm not here to give you real causes, but some people said that they were thirsty all the time. They just were not hydrated, and a lot of vegans, they're up here drinking these huge jugs of lemon water, huge jugs of smoothie, 32 ounces and 64 ounces. They declare these like they're proud of it. Well, I have a 64-ounce smoothie every morning, like that's some great accomplishment, and they're still dehydrated because the next morning they get up. The first thing they need is a whole gallon and a half of water with lemon in it. So be aware if you're having extreme thirst and in denial about it, and trying to proclaim that you drink all this fluid, when really you're just extremely thirsty. Next thing, heart issues. So many people said they had developed some weird random heart issues with no known identifiable cause. Angina, heart palpitations. Don't be scared if you get heart palpitations as a vegan and think that you're dying, because this can actually come from the vegan diet. This happens to many vegans. They say they end up in the ER with a rapid heartbeat and heart palpitations. Now, you could have a condition that causes you to have this, but if you never had this before and now you're vegan and you're getting that sometimes, could be from the vegan diet, those palpitations and rapid heartbeat. Okay, so And there's so many other symptoms of veganism, but I can't go on forever and ever in this video. But the last things that I felt like were really important was not being aware that you're in denial about how sick you are as a vegan. And I'm going to show you how this looks. You might be online. You might look through your browser history. Are you on Healthline? Are you on medical websites? Do you always have symptoms of something? One month you got hyperthyroid symptoms. Next month you got hypothyroid symptoms. Next month you got Hashimoto's. Next month you got some other autoimmune disease. Next month you got lupus symptoms. Next month you think you got Lyme disease. Next month you think you got multiple sclerosis. Next month you think you got ALS. Next month you think you got adrenal insufficiency and adrenal fatigue. Next month you think you got cancer. Next month you think you got diabetes or insulin resistance. Like, have you thought that you had any of these diseases? And usually as a vegan, the symptoms you have will probably align with some of the autoimmune branch of diseases. And before you went vegan, you never were on these websites all the time on Healthline, lining up symptoms, trying to figure out if you got Hashimoto's, trying to figure out if you got heavy metal toxicity, adrenal fatigue, gallbladder issues. Like, do you really spend a lot of time on these websites trying to figure out what is wrong with you, and then on top of that, going online and buying herbal remedies for these things? You think you got thyroid issues, you're trying to buy sea kelp, and think you got lupus, and you're just trying to buy all these herbs. Have you begun to watch Dr. Morse, Dan McDonald, any of these people that talk about herbs and cleanses and detoxing your body? If you are watching Dr. Morse, the vegan diet is not working for you. Anyone that's on Dr. Morse's channel and trying to do all this fruit and trying to buy these herbal supplements and herbal teas, it's just my personal belief. If you're looking at Dr. Morse, the vegan diet is not working for you. You shouldn't need Dr. Morse. Okay? Another thing is that if you have a pantry full of an embarrassing amount of supplements and pills and herbs. If anyone came in your house and they saw these 50, 60 bottles of herbs in your cabinet, and huge shopping bags full of bags of pills and herbs and magnesium and reishi mushrooms and all this random stuff that you have, would you be a little bit embarrassed? Because nobody should have 50, 60, 70 bottles of, herbs and pills and sea kelp and iodine and potassium and what else? There's like literally so many herbs and powders and supplements and Marcus products, and you have a whole cabinet full of just powders and powders and powders and powders and capsules. If you're watching Dr. Morse, you're buying all these herbs, you're not being honest with yourself. You have some hurdle. You feel like you have some hurdle that you need to overcome on your vegan diet. You feel like you're not quite there. You're always trying to wait on something, trying to get over some hill, trying to find that herb, that supplement, that particular B12. You're trying to go and get that B12 shot and see if that helps you out. Trying to get that reishi mushroom and see if that helps you out. Trying to get that holy basil and that fermented garlic pills and all this stuff that you want to try to buy, and not being honest with yourself that you have a hurdle that you're trying to overcome, a hurdle that you never had before veganism. Before veganism, you probably had one multivitamin and maybe like one magnesium pill. Now you got 40 different herbs. Now you got every mineral known to man. And you got all these zinc pills and different varieties of each mineral as well. If you are trying to overcome all these hurdles with these supplements, these powders, these Dr. Morse videos, and not only one or two Dr. Morse videos, but you feel like you have symptoms in several of his videos. You're watching his videos on Hashimoto's, watching his videos on gallbladder issues, you're watching his videos on kidney stones, watching his videos on adrenal fatigue, and him telling you eat all this fruit for adrenal fatigue. Be honest with yourself and make sure you're not putting yourself through this, because this is not normal. It's not normal for a person to be constantly online searching, buying, trying herbs, Amazonian herbs and antioxidants and all this stuff to try to heal these issues from the vegan diet. So just be honest with yourself and make sure that this is not happening to you. That's it.